Hello everyone. In this video we're going to write our first programming called Hello World. Now Hello World is generally used to create your first program when you're trying to learn the language, regardless if it's C, Java, or Python. Well, before we get started our program, what is preprocessor? Well, first, the preprocessor is more like a phase of the compiler that reads in your initial source file. It pretty much processes all the included files in a directive to make a new source file with all the information that are contained. It pretty much passes the file onto the compiler to generate the object code. So, like, think of it this way: the preprocessor is a part of the compiler that get into your program from the file. So some examples are like included, define, and NF. The preprocessor that we're going to use is called include. So the way you do it is you type it like this, include. There we go. Now, what is include? It's again a preprocessor that is a part of the compiler that gets into your program from the file. So what this means is that it's used to put a code of the given file into the current file. It's more so used to include a different header file. Now, if you don't include this, pretty much the compiler will go into an error. There are three ways to write include, but for now we're going to just use one of them, which is the angle brackets. So they're pretty much like this. Include. We're just going to just use this. Oops. Sorry about that. There we go. .h. There we go. Alright, there we go. And then another one we're going to use for this is include. There we go. Oops, sorry about that. My keyboard's been acting up today. Okay, there we go. Okay, there. So you see these two here. So what is this one for? This one is more for like, how should I put it this way? It's more like a preprocessor directive. It's not so part of the program, but rather instruction to compile. It's a standard input-output function, which functions are basically a step of instructions for the program to do something. There are many ways that you can use this, header. It stands more for like standard like input-output. So some examples for this would be like the Printf, which we'll learn this one here soon, scanf, and then many more. So this one here is different. So it's more pronounced as std library. It's defined as a general purpose library for C programming. It involves many functions such as memory allocation, conversion, mathematical process control, and more. So there are many functions that can be found in this, such as exit, system, and more. So right now we're not going to worry too much about this. I just wanted to show it to you, and we'll learn more about this in future videos. So the next thing we're going to do is type this int main, and then we're going to go ahead and type in two curly braces. There we go. Now this one here is a main function. Now what is main? Main is a function which is calls through the operating system when the program execution begins. Now a C program is executed, the execution control goes directly to the main function. Now every C program has a main function regardless of what it is. Now there are many arguments for the main function, which could be found here, but for now we'll stay with int and then main for this video. So let me see. We'll go ahead and type one of the functions. Yes. And I'm gonna go ahead and explain this here in a moment, but pretty much we're gonna talk about, the curly brace or a curly bracket, sorry. It's used a group of statements. In programming language, there's a set of block of codes. Now they're pretty much used as like statements that you can write here. So this is where it starts, and this is where it ends. But for now we're going to talk about printf. Now printf is a function that is defined as a function that prints out different data types such as string, characters, integers, doubles, and more to pretty much output on the screen. Well, in order for us to print any output, you'll have to have you have to type something inside the printf, which you have to type something here, which we'll go over soon. Whether it's a string, specifier, which we'll learn about that in future videos, or anything else we want to output. Now next is a semicolon. Now if you notice, you see there's two semicolons here. It is pretty much a statement terminator. It tells the compiler that our statement ends before the semicolon. If it doesn't have a semicolon, it will cause an error before the compiler won't, because the compiler won't know where the statement ends. So yeah, if you don't have these two, then it'll create an error. Now last is pretty much up here, the return, and then also 0 with it, which I'm gonna go explain. It's the return function is a value that is returned or pass the control to a caller function. The way this works is code will terminate the execution of the function, then transfer back to the calling of the function. The return 0 is used as a no error, which means if pretty much everything works in the program, the function returns 0, but if there are errors, it won't return 0, returns an error instead. So the way we're going to write hello world is you're going to go ahead and type it here, hello world. Okay, so after you type that in, you're good to go over here, built and run, and there you go, everyone. Hello world, return as 0. There you go, you have created your first program, hello world. If you like this video, be sure to click like and subscribe, and we'll see you in the next video.